5? Well, welcome everybody. I just literally just took a bite of Brussels sprouts here. And welcome to day 4? Day 4 of our cooking class. If you're joining me right now, do me a favor, put a hashtag number 1 if you're watching this live. If you do this later as a recording, hashtag number 2. And hashtag number 3 if you're cooking with me right now. I hope that you have an amazing Saturday and we're able to get out and enjoy some of that sunshine. But I wanted to start off with a little bit of a joke, because sometimes we can all use a little humor. So and this is a joke that my grandpa used to tell and still does tell. He tells it way better than I do just because he starts laughing before the punchline typically. There's this old man and old woman, husband and wife, they've been married for 50 plus years. They're driving up in the mountains, and then they're driving too fast. Cop pulls them over. Cop comes up to the door and says, "Excuse me, sir, you know how fast you were going?" And immediately, before he can even respond, his wife in the passenger seat looks over at him and says, "What was that? What did he say?" "He says he wants to know how fast I was going." "Oh, okay." He said, "No, officer, I don't know how fast I was going." He's like, "All right, well, why don't you give me your license and registration?" "What was that? What did he say?" "He said he wants our license and registration." "Oh, okay." So he hands the officer his license and registration. The officer says, "Okay, I'll be right back." He goes back to his police car and runs some numbers and does some things, whatever the police do back there. He comes back to the window and he says, "Here's your license and registration. I see you're from Iowa." And the man says, "Yeah, we're from Iowa." He says, "You know, I met the most annoying, obnoxious woman in the world, and she was from Iowa." And right about that time, "What was that? What did he say?" And the man, without pausing, looks back at her and says, "He thinks he knows you." And so that's our start for our cooking class. Hopefully you're joining me. If you enjoyed the joke, give me some smiley faces or laughy faces. I would greatly appreciate that. But I wanted to start off and give you a little tip. We used celery the other day, and I want to show you the most effective way to store celery. So over here, if you look here, this is my leftover celery. And actually, the celery I used last night and the celery here, this is the celery that I've had for about 6 weeks. And you can see it's still good. So the best way to store celery is in Tupperware with water. And it stays good for weeks, I would say even months. So just a little quick tip there, something you can do with your celery, something you can do with time to keep your food fresh. Still great. So celery and peanut butter is a great snack right now. If you get the no sugar added peanut butter. Really, really good. So just a little quick tip. I'm going to put this back in the fridge. And we got any comments so far? Who's joining us? Super, super tasty. I'm going to get started and turn the heat on my burner. And what you want to use is you want to use a pot. A big pot like this. Reason being, we're going to brown our hamburger first, or whatever ground meat you're using, and we want to use that as part of the flavoring. So,
we've got Pam.
Pam, welcome.
Jane. Mary thought it was funny, but she's also
Mary,
crying.
for my joke.
Christine. We've got people joining. There's people cooking with you.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome.
Let's see. Sherry, Bonnie, Nina.
Welcome, Sherry, Bonnie, and
Jerry.
Nina. Did you say Cherry?
Jerry.
Jerry. Welcome, Jerry.
Cholico. Is he from California?
Cholico from California.
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Hey, are you from California? Let us know.
Pam's on from California.
Pam from California. Great.
Lynette from Nebraska.
Lynette from Nebraska. Welcome to the
Susan
Cookie
saying
Show.
that you've got a great joke there.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to put a splash of Bragg's in our pan, and then we're going to take our ground meat. This is 4 ounces of ground beef. Found this 94% lean, but you can use whatever ground meat, ground chicken, ground turkey, ground bison. All right. If you're not on the VitaLife program, even ground pork would be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And then I'm going to add in, I went ahead and added onions as well, onions and garlic. So this is 1 clove of garlic that I'm going to add in there. And the onions. I can't remember how many onions it are, but that I have, but that should come up on the screen. I just had some leftover diced onions, and this is going to also make this really, really good. I'm going to go ahead and put this in here, and then I'm going to put in my 8 ounces of mushrooms. Okay, this is about 8 ounces of mushrooms here. You can see that.
No, I can't.
You can't see that. See that here? 8 ounces of mushrooms. We're going to go ahead and add that in. There we go. And we're going to mix that together and let that brown. And again, we're using the same pan that we're going to use to put the soup in, because it's just going to really add to the flavor. So mix everything in there really well. There we go. And we're going to let this cook. I've got it at a medium to high heat. Mine is set at a 5. It goes up to a 6 and then high, so 2 more settings. So I'm right about in the middle there. Looks like I've got a little hair. Nice. All right, so we're cooking away here. This will just take a few minutes. We want to make sure our meat gets nice and brown, and it really helps to have the other veggies in there. The onions are going to give it some more water. We put our splash of rags in there, and we want to make sure we keep things going so we don't burn anything. All right. So the other things we got going on here, we got our seasoning, and we're going to put some cayenne pepper. I believe it is a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Can't remember off the top of my head here. We're going to get that here in just a minute. Mixing up, in the meantime, continuing to mix my ground meat with my onions, mushrooms, and garlic. If you don't like strong, like the longer you cook your onions and garlic, the less bite they have. So if you really enjoy that bite, that kind of strong taste that they have, then just don't cook them as long or don't cook them at all and just add them into your soup. You're going to get a more crunchy or crisp taste to it, as well as kind of that garlic bite. All right, so this is our seasoning that we're going to be adding in, and it is a teaspoon.
It's a teaspoon,
It's a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and then I put 10 cranks of pepper in there. You can see what that looks like. We're going to add the salt later. The salt is going to be to taste, but we're going to wait. I just wanted to show you the seasonings there so you could get yours prepped while we're cooking our meat. The nice thing with this is one of the simpler dishes that we'll be making, and it's don't think that just because it's simple that it's not going to be delicious. Already, that smell of that ground meat with that garlic and mushrooms and onions already smells delicious. So I'm very excited about this. I'm also breaking up my mushrooms just a little bit because they're a little big. Okay, so that's just me breaking up a few of the mushrooms here. And then you're cooking your meat until you don't see any pink. Okay, so let me show you a close-up of what the meat should look like when it's done. Okay. You can see it there. Beautiful. And that's what it should look like. And I'm kind of hungry right now because I am doing a protein day, which is proteins and vegetables. So I'm going to go ahead and try this here.
You're getting comments. I wish you were cooking with your leftover chili.
Oh.
It is. But I can still watch.
And by the way, the leftover chili, great thing to freeze. So I do have some leftover chili, and I actually took 2 servings. No, I took a whole bunch of it over to my grandparents' house. I took a whole bunch to my grandparents' house so they could have some chili. And then I also have 2 more servings here, so I do have a lot of leftover chili. And I know, I wish I was cooking, because that's what I would do normally, but I'm trying to give you guys something new every day. So eat that for your leftover lunch. All right.
Could you use regular cabbage?
Yes. So the reason this is called baby cabbage is just, it's kind of a joke, so that way when people are eating it, it's supposed to look like little cabbage heads, even though it's Brussels sprouts. And they didn't have any baby cabbage. A lot of times you can find it frozen. You want your cabbage, let me show you here on a close-up. You want your cabbage to be about this size. So you can find cabbage about this size. I couldn't, so I went ahead and just went with bigger cabbage, and then I quartered it, or I halved it, Brussels sprouts, I quartered it, or I halved it based upon the size. The one difference that you'll find, I'm going to turn my heat down to low. You'll probably want to do the same thing so you don't overcook your mushrooms and onions and meat. But one of the keys with that is to have the Brussels sprouts be consistently the same size and held together. So if you're doing cabbage, it's hard to get the cabbage to stick together like this in sizes like this. So that's the difference between using it like this and then using normal cabbage. But normal cabbage will work. You're still going to get the same flavor profiles. It's just your texture is going to be a little bit different. And texture does make a difference with the overall taste of the dish. But you're going to still have a really tasty dish. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in my beef bone broth. All right, so I have already measured out a cup. I'm going to put 2 cups of the beef bone broth in. All right, so there's 1. And then if you're on the VitaLife program, you'd want to try to get a broth that matches whatever you're doing. So I am doing beef. I'm also doing beef broth. If you didn't have beef broth, you could use vegetable broth. And to make it taste more beefy, you could use the Bragg's liquid aminos, which is like a soy sauce, but it gives everything that real beefy flavor. Okay, so the Bragg's liquid aminos. I have the only bone broth I could find. They were out of the beef bone broth, shockingly enough. So I went with a turkey bone broth, and I'm going to go ahead and put a little splash of the Bragg's in there to give it that little more authentic beef broth flavor. All right, so again, we're using this to add the flavor of the meat, a little bit of the fat that the meat has, even though it's very lean. It's going to help add to the flavor profile of our dish here. Okay, so we're cooking along here. I'm going to go ahead and turn up the heat now. Now that I've got that in, I'm going to bring it to a boil and then let it simmer. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and add in my other ingredients. But I'm going to add in, don't just add them all in. I'm going to add in my Brussels sprouts next.
We're having, people are saying, Sherry's saying, is it just me or is he a little hard to hear? You guys let us know how the sound is.
Yeah, let us know how the sound is. Yeah, so please comment if you're having trouble hearing me or if you can hear me well. Okay? Both ways. And then again, this was the leftover broccoli from last night. The stalks of the broccoli. Let me show you that on a close-up here. Okay, there's the broccoli stalks. You can see about the size that we're dealing with. The reason we're using this is because I don't want to waste it. And this is still a really hardy, usable ingredient. I'm going to chop some of this up a little bit smaller here. All right, just because this piece is just a little too big. So just want to chop it to make it the same size so it can cook at about the same time frame as everything else.
Is the low sodium beef broth?
It is low sodium beef broth, yes. Okay, I'm going to mix everything together here. You could also, with stuff like this, you could be adding spinach to this. You could add some kale to this. Lots of different things you could add. Kind of depends on what you have available in your area. And then this is my onion here. And what I'm going to be doing with my onion is, if you see, when you're dealing with green onion, you have kind of the white part of the green onion, kind of that bottom part, and then you have the green leafy part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the majority of the white part, so this side here, I'm going to put this in my soup to cook, and I'm going to leave this to top it afterwards. Okay, so we got about half in there. There we go. Trying to get more of the white ones in there. Leave some of the green. The green is going to be used kind of to top it off like a little garnish. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and mix that in. Okay. And then make sure you get up to a boil. So if you're not boiling yet, which I'm not, I turned my heat up to a 6 on my cabbage here, my cabbage soup, baby cabbage soup, because that cabbage, if you look right now, I'll bring my pot over so you can see a close-up. If you look right now, all right, you can see that. All right, we got a little split screen action going on. So you can see that that all will cook down tremendously. So just, even though some of the cabbage is out of the water, just bear with us here. We're going to cook that down. I'm going to go ahead and also add in my seasonings right now. So that's that cayenne pepper and pepper. So we'll go ahead and add that in. And then we'll mix that in as well. Again, cayenne pepper is going to make it a little bit spicy. So if you don't like spicy, use less. Or you could use cumin. Cumin is going to give you a lot of the same flavor profiles without the kick. And if you try like next to each other, if you try cayenne pepper just a little bit, and you try a little pinch of cumin just without anything, you're gonna feel and sense the taste of the cumin in the cayenne pepper. And I would recommend starting with the cumin and then going with the cayenne pepper, just because then the cayenne pepper is gonna be a little warm, may burn out some of your taste buds. All right, at this point in time, I want to bring this to a boil. So again, my heat is now up on high, and I'm going to cover it. It's important to cover it because the cabbage that's sticking out needs to cook. So it's not going to cook if it's sticking out and if we don't create some steam. So by covering it, we're going to create some steam in the dish, and you can actually see, like right away, you can see the top. If you have a glass top like I do, you can see it starting to steam up right away. So you see how we're already steaming there. There we go. So we want to bring it to a boil. We want to make sure our cabbage gets nice and soft. And while that's happening, I'm going to grab a Zevia because I love Zevia. So while that's going on here, where's our Zevia? This one, cream soda.
Oh, you mean my Zevia?
Yeah, your Zevia. Did you like the cream soda?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would love to say that this has been brought to you by Zevia, but they don't pay me anything. Can't believe they haven't heard of my cooking show yet.
So people are saying there, some of them are having a hard time hearing you. They said they could hear me good, but not you.
Okay, so here's the question. Can you hear me better now? Or you want to walk away a little bit and see if it makes a difference? No? Okay. All right, well, then you can hear me better now or not. It's because we have 3 different cameras, but we believe the sound all comes from one camera, and we think it's this one. But we're not positive. Okay, I'm starting to boil just a little bit if you want to take a look here with me. I'm taking the top off my pan. And we're boiling just a little bit. I want to get more of a rolling boil, so if you look here, you can see that there's an occasional bubble. Okay, and we're just about there. We're starting in a few spots, but I really want this to be, you can see it bubbling right there a little bit. I really want this to be more of a rolling boil, so I'm going to give it a quick stir so we can get some more of the veggies that we're trying to cook mixed in. There we go, and then we'll cover it again here. Okay. I'm really curious as well, just to see how our broth tastes. So I'm going to just sneak in here and grab some broth. There we go. Because this will really, and developing the ability, and I know a lot of you already have this ability, but you taste something and you see if it needs something. Okay, so I'm just, as we're going, I'm going to taste and see what it needs. So for me, and I'm not going to add any more now, I want mine a little spicier. So it's really good. Let's see what Paulina thinks here. When you try your broth, let us know what yours needs. Just do it, okay? Let us know.
Okay.
Okay. You got it? Okay. It's a really unique flavor today. I really like it.
Yeah, I could a little use more spice.
More spice?
For me
So
as
you
well.
could use a little bit hotter?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to add in, this is just for us. Not everybody has to do this. Try your broth right now. Let us know if you think it needs more. I'm going to add another half a teaspoon of the cayenne pepper. Mix that in and see if that helps. Again, it's really tasty as is, but I just like it with a little bit more heat. So I'm going to add that in, mix it in.
Sound is gone. How is the sound gone?
So can anybody hear me? Is everybody saying the sound is gone?
People are saying you're going in and out. All right.
All right, well, I think we're having some sound problems. I'm sorry. Oh, you know what? Where's the mic?
What mic?
On that. Because if it's on the, is it on the backside?
Would this be the mic?
That could be, maybe.
I never had it in anything. It's still alive, I think. I never messed with it. I didn't cover it. Set it down. Should we just record it with this? Finish? Should we
Is the sound better now? Can
It's,
people
you
hear
were
me?
saying it's okay now.
It's okay now.
I can hear your yes.
Okay.
Sound is back. It's back.
Okay. I think what's happening is we're covering the speakers. Maybe?
I wasn't doing it. I was trying not to.
Okay. All right, now we are at the point where we've got a rolling boil, so let's take a look at that. I'm gonna
Hold on.
Okay, there we go. This is really tricky. Okay, there's our rolling boil. That's what we want to see. All right, so we got it to a rolling boil. Now we're going to turn it down to probably like a 3 on our oven. We're going to give it a stir, and we're going to let it cook for just a couple more minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're trying to get this. We're trying to make this better every time, and every time we do, we run into more technical difficulties. So just bear with us as we figure this out.
It became a split screen.
What'd you say?
When I was showing the food, and I like accidentally pressed split screen.
Oh, nice. The other thing that we want to make sure cooks well is take a bigger chunk of your Brussels sprouts. And we're gonna let that cool, and we're gonna try that. Again, if it's boiling too much now, because it's really easy to boil, we're gonna turn that down to a low. So right now I just have a low, so it's more of a simmer. And we're going to try this Brussels sprout here, cutting it in half, just like so. Whew, it's really hot. Okay, we got a little bit of meat there. So we're gonna try this. All right. Good, but it needs probably 3 more minutes. So 6:30. We're going to be stirring every once in a while to make sure that this is doesn't burn, and we want to keep things moving so everything's cooking. Oh man, it has a great smell to it. Love it. How's yours? How is your guys's? How does it smell? What do you think, Pauline? It smells good?
Smells delicious.
Smells delicious. All right, I'm going to try my one of my broccoli pieces here. Let me try that. Okay. Cut this thing in half here. Okay. That's pretty good. And it's amazing that, we can use all these different pieces, and the broccoli kind of reminds me like kind of that potato. Like it doesn't really have any taste. Broccoli as a cruciferous vegetable has kind of like a little bit of a bitter taste. But the stalk, when you cook it like this, the stalk doesn't have that at all. So it's a very non-tasting taste. It tends to take on whatever flavor you put it in. So in this instance, it has a little bit of that beefy flavor to it, but really, really, really good. Okay, we are looking pretty good here. And again, we're going to use the onions here. These are going to be kind of a garnish on the top. You can always add more salt and pepper. Salt and pepper on this one is just to taste. We put a few cranks mixed in with our cayenne, but our salt we're going to add in at the end based upon how much salt you want. The Bragg's, just a reminder, this is like soy sauce, so this is really, really salty. So when you add this in, you are adding some salty flavor, but this does not have any sodium in it, so it's nice that it doesn't have the added sodium. We want to try to control our sodium. We do need it. It's an essential nutrient. We talked about that a little bit this morning or this afternoon, but we don't want too much of it. And in the standard American diet, we're getting so much sodium that it's really overkill. So some sodium in your diet is necessary as it's an essential nutrient, and you need quite a bit of it to keep your body in balance, but too much of it can cause issues with blood pressure and things like that. Okay. Checking on my soup again here. Don't you just love it when you open up the soup? I'm just going to do that again because I absolutely love it. When you open up the soup and you get all of that steam, and you get that really, really, really nice smell from what you're cooking. Oh, I absolutely love that. So here we go. We're going to open it up again. Get some steam built up. Ah, I love that. So good. So I'm going to try another cabbage head. And you basically want to cook it until the cabbage is the consistency of what you would like. So just like noodles, you know, noodles, you can have different consistencies with noodles where they can be softer or harder. So I like a little bit softer cabbage. You might like yours a little bit harder, but here's my cabbage. Oh man, that is perfect. We're gonna let Paulina try the cabbage. And to make sure it all is good, we're gonna try. Good? Hot, right?
I love Brussels sprouts.
She loves Brussels sprouts. I think I keep saying cabbage, but it's baby cabbage, Brussels sprouts. So what I'm going to try now is a bite of everything. So I'm going to get a little bit of mushroom, get a little bit of the beef, a little bit of onion, and then a Brussels sprout and broccoli. This is quite the bite. All right, so here's my bite. Okay. Wow. Now, if you're on the lose it stage of our program, we only put 4 ounces of meat in here, so technically you could eat this entire pot. That's a lot of food. But you could eat this entire pot, and you will still be following the rules, be losing weight, eat as much of it as you want, okay? So let's go ahead and try this here. Oh, it's so hot. Mmm. Mmm. So many different textures, so many different flavors. I love it. Oh my goodness. Paulina, you gotta come over here and try this. Mm-hmm. There we go. It's really hot.
Okay, still make me put something really hot in my mouth.
We're practicing social distancing. Here, eat this. Be careful, it's really hot.
It's it's good.
Really good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So if you are at the point where you have completed your meal and you're trying it right now, let us know how it tastes. Give us a rating. You're rating your own work, my recipe, but your work on a scale of 1 to 10. What would you rate your work tonight?
It's good. It's really good.
Really good. Really simple. This freezes really well, by the way, too. So this is the perfect thing to throw in the freezer for later on if you cook some extra. And this is a very inexpensive meal. Extremely inexpensive meal. Okay, so we're going to plate now. Make it look pretty. So I've just got my burner down to low. Again, now it's just keeping it hot. So mix it up a little bit. Grab my ladle. Ladle some in there. And you could add, this is really thick, again, this is a really thick soup. So if you wanted to add more broth, I would just add some more bone broth to it. That's going to be totally fine. All right. Let's see here with this. This.
Who's cooking with us tonight? Did we already ask that? No, I don't think I have that answer. Who is also making it?
Yeah, give us the #3 if you're making it with us. Smells so good.
Bonnie says delicious.
All right, so here is our product. You've been cooking with us tonight. I added some of the green onions on top, so there's a few of the green onions on top, which is nice and crisp and fresh. Going to give us a nice crisp burst there on the top. And then I'm going to put just a little bit more pink salt on it, like so, just a touch more because I like pink salt. And then for me, I'll probably add nutritional yeast just because I love nutritional yeast and put it on everything. Okay, everyone. Well, wasn't that one easy? If that one was the easiest one and you followed along, give me a hashtag easy. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in today. Again, tomorrow, right around noon, we'll be doing the midday motivation time as well as your questions and answers at the Daily Dose of Davis. So make sure you tune in tomorrow at noon. We are also working on trying to change up some of the rules a little bit so that way we can get everybody weighing in, and we hope to do that tonight. So we hope to have the rules and everything posted about how we're going to do that tonight. Any other comments or questions that I need to know about here?
Not that I can see coming in right now.
Okay. Well, thank you guys all so much for being a part. I appreciate this so much. I appreciate you joining me on this 20-day journey. And remember, today is the perfect day to live a vital life.